Okay, so Bree's the one that's texting. You the one doing all the texting. You do?
What? What y'all talking about?
Who's Bree?
Really? You had to ask who Bree was?
Well, he said...
Okay.
Didn't y'all just say that y'all both do? So who's Bree? That's a valid question.
But like, who's the dad? That's just like saying, who's Sharon?
But,
where the heck is my lady at?
who, Robin?
No, I know where Robin's at. She's not here. That's where Robin's.
What's her name?
Huh?
You're talking about...
Maybe I should put this here.
Yasmin. Yamin. Fatima, yeah.
Yamin.
I meant to say Fatima.
Fatima. It's Amors. We're getting together. We're getting ourselves together today. Give me a minute. I wanted to have this on, but it might die on me. So I have things everywhere. It's long. So does anybody remember what today's topic is supposed to be?
Yeah.
I saw those boards, but I didn't want one of those little tiny boards. The board that I saw that I like was one of those, it has legs that can fold up and you can like carry it. But I said, I don't want to carry no more stuff to my meetings. So I'm struggling with, but I found one that I want, because then it could have like literally been right here, and I could have been like that. So I found one, and if Amor will donate, it's 75 notes. So if you donate, I'll have that board for next week. But I was like, I ain't paying for that board. I already had one board donated that I can't use yet because it's so freaking big, and I don't want to be wheeling it out. So I use that when I have classes in my room or something like that. I'll use that board. You look so tired. You all right, babe? You want to go get some Starbucks? You look tired over there. Huh? I love my Starbucks. I love Starbucks. Starbucks is okay with me. It's hot, y'all. It's not that hot, but it's hot enough. This thing might come off. It really might. I'm just going to say it. My turban just might come off today. So does anybody remember the topic of today's class? What you say? Really? What you say? I can't hear you. Yes.
I'm looking for it. It was on here.
Oh, guess what? Okay, remember a couple of days ago, I think it was on the 15th. I think it's Temple 11, but Tiger said it's Temple 5. I'm not sure if it's Temple 5 of the More Science Temple Incorporated. And we know they incorporated because they're on the Dunes and Bradstreet. So that's how you know if it's a 501c3, y'all. It's on the Dunes and Bradstreet website. It's like, oh, you got it. Islam, I ain't had to bring it up. So the topic of today's class is Moors. Their whole fake courts are human trafficking corporations, and they use codes, statutes, regulations, and ordinances to determine what they need from you as the creditors, executors, beneficiaries, and heirs to balance their books and settle their debt. So stop thinking the immigrants, Albions, aliens give a damn about stare decisis, law, or your rights, or their procedures, their court procedures. When you reconcile this fact, human trafficking is all the United States Service Corporation was chartered for, you'll come to grips as to why all you need to do is stand on your nationality, state the mantra 3 times, and don't answer any questions. And I highlighted Albions came as criminals to work the British colonies, and they're going to leave in the same fashion. And they've never stopped being that. It's just that we, at one point, didn't realize what was going on here at Morocco, Northwest North America, to the actual Americans, which is you, which is me, right? So we've been living under a rock, and through a lot of our so-called leader guys, as Taj would call them, leadership guys, their whole, like, there was a book that I read. It was a book called Moses. It was a book about the life of Moses. And that book was very, very enlightening. It was enlightening how when the people come out of servitude, it takes 2 to 3 to 4 generations before there's real competency. And Prophet Noble Jew Ali came in 1913. I mean, not necessarily came in 1913. He manifested in 1886, right? And he started the temples in 1913, the first Canaanite temple in 1913. Now, keep in mind, he realized, because he was bringing these individuals from directly out of enslavement, which was more mental than it was physical, but it's only physical. You can only be subjected to physical enslavement if you're first subjected to mental slavery, right? So he came to free the people, right? But he realized, just like Musa, whatever you want to call him, realized back. Oh, let me share this real quick. How do I do that? I forgot. Can somebody share this to the groups, please, so the people on the groups can see it? Can y'all go on to, can you share? I'll do it. Because this is on my platform, and it needs to be on the group platform, and it needs to be on the other platform, just so everybody see. Look, I got it, came right up. Share in the groups. So give me a second. I want to share in the group so everybody has access to the site. I do these things so everybody has the information that they need. And there we go. One more. Did I share it on my page? I think I did enough. Anyway, so when Moses came to deliver his people from enslavement and servitude, he recognized that that first generation of slaves or enslaved wasn't going to make it to the promised land. And it took them wandering in the wilderness for how many generations? The third. The third generation was the generation that saw total freedom, right? Though that was the generation that was able to go into the land of milk and honey from their subjugation. And it's kind of like the same thing in this regards. Prophet Noble Jew Ali came and established the Moor Science Temple in 1913, but realized in that time that the information wouldn't be really penetrate. It really wouldn't penetrate his people because they were so far in subjugation until the second to the third to the fourth generation. So we're now in the fourth generation. My generation is the fourth generation. My children are the fifth generation, right? So right now, Prophet said it's going to take 50 years. 50 years is 2 generations. So it's going to take 2 generations for you to realize what I left you. It's going to take 2 generations for you to realize what I left you, and it's going to come a time where you don't even know me. You don't even know who I am, right? People will say Prophet Noble Jew Ali, and for a lot of us, from 99.9% of us, we didn't know who the heck Noble Jew Ali was. Never heard ever that name or ever saw a depiction of his likeness, right? So we've never had. He said that, and also he said, oh goodness, what he said? You're gonna love me. You're just gonna love me, and we do love Prophet Noble Jew Ali. We praise him all the time because of what he did bring us. Because none of these so-called black leaders that we want to sit here and keep promoting, not the so-called Republican Party, not the so-called Democratic Party, not Black Lives Matter, not Hebrew Israelism, not Muslim, not Christianity. None of these things that y'all all hold dear to by pure death have brought you out of the sleep that you were currently in. None of them done that. And actually, many of them frown against you declaring and proclaiming your nationality. So you have to get out your feelings, get your big girl and big boy pants on, and do what needs to get done. And I'm not one of those individuals that's going to sit here and talk and stroke your ego. I'm just not here for that. There's a lot of stuff going on that we've been complicit in because of our ignorance and our disobedience and our sin. And just like last week when I read the Divine Warning from the Prophet, not going to read it again. Go to that video and watch it. Or how about this? Read it. Because it's going to elevate you. Because the platform where we are now and where we're moving to very, very shortly is not the occupation of your Moorish estate, but the revenuing of your Moorish estate back to the Moorish American nationals. So those people squatting here that think that they're Americans, that call themselves white persons, which none of which are not, are living literally off of your virtues. And when we say Grand Sheikh Tashriq Bey and Consular General Tashriq Bey of the Moorish American Consulate said last night Friday night on his House of Reawakening Minds broadcast, the credit, it's the credit. It's not the gold and the silver. It's the credit. And I didn't write it specifically down, but when he said it, it was like bells going off. Because you think that you have to have something in a bank account, you have to have something, even gold and silver, none of which you have, because it's the credit. You are the credit. You are the creditors. Just like I read on this broadcast. I'm going to read it again. It says Moors, their whole fake court system, are human trafficking corporations, and they use code, statutes, regulations, and ordinances. And how do they use code, statutes, regulations, and ordinances? And if I had my board, I do miss being at Havertown, but at the same time, I'd rather be outside. So we're working on the board piece because I like to connect the dots so you can see for yourself those dots that I am collecting. But the point that I want to make to you is this. When you think about codes, regulations, and ordinances, and also I uploaded discovery, the discovery that I received on the 15th in regards to the nom de guerre. Now you have to know what the nom de guerres are being utilized for. The birds are just talking to us over here. It's crazy. They sit here like, go ahead, Sharon, do the thing. Bang that. Let me shut up. But anyway, I'm going to use my notebook, my trusty dandy notebook, in regards to showing you what it is. I should have bought the little freaking board. Now I'm mad I ain't buy the damn board. The little board that I could carry around with me. I'm a little mad at myself, y'all. Or at Nev, because the Nev could have got it and bought it with him. He is my cameraman, so he needs to be bringing these things. Anyway, because I can't bring everything. Anyway, think about the nom de guerre. The nom de guerre, the straw man. When you think about the straw man, stay with me. Write it down. The straw man. When you think about the straw man, the purpose of its creation. The reasons why they under threat, duress, and coercion, put you in those POWs. Or yes, because they want to contract with you. And nobody really sits down and says, well, why the hell did they do all this? Why is all of this necessary? Why are they going full speed ahead on it, and why are they being so just outright ignorant? Let's just be honest with it, ignorant and cruel. So when we think about the straw man, we already had several classes on Fix the Sin Your Mom Put You In, While We Do the Straw Man Leans, and a multitude of other videos that build to the one that we're talking about now in regards to who the straw man is. Moors, you know you're not the straw man. Your mother, through her ignorance and her informant butt, had you identifying under that false paradigm, that false identity, your whole entire life. She did this through how she would put you into the schooling systems, the Medicare or health systems, welfare systems, all these different systems. She used that nom de guerre in order to get any type of services, right? But the nom de guerre is a corporation. It's not you, the living being. So two governments cannot coexist, because this one is your de jure government, the Moorish nation, and the Moorish National Republic federal government is your government, right? This is what identifies people and their national and heritage and birthright capacity, right? And then you have, and that's and what's governing your mental is your knowledge of the law, your knowledge of your culture, and your knowledge of your past. Like, so there's a lot of things coming with that. And all of those things taken together are governing your mental. So you're not going to do the things that people are doing over here, which are the de facto. That's the color of law institution. That's the human traffickers people thought was government, and it's been violating you in every avenue. And because you can't, one, accept the fact that that's the reality. Two, you can't think your way out of it because your mental is being governed by a hypothecator. So because this mental is being governed by a hypothecator, everything that they do, including the movies, including the so-called educational systems, which are systems for people who have been dumbed down to the point that they are cattle and actual anthomos. And if you look at any of these laws, and if you look at, codes, you'll see. And that goes to the straw man, right? So I'm painting a picture. I'm gonna paint it later. It's gonna come full circle. This is just the beginning of that, okay? It's just the beginning. But the next 3 to 4 classes is gonna kind of home it in, okay? So the straw man. And we know the straw man can only exist if it is created and established by the sovereign. Sovereign's the only one that can establish that straw man. Nobody else can do it. Nobody else can do it. No matter what you be thinking, nobody else can do it. So it has to be the mother who gives away her child. And the way she does that is through the birth certificate and the social security card. So now she puts her child on the market. So now her child becomes property of whatever corporate state she establishes that nom de guerre through. Even though she didn't realize it, but her government's not governing her mental. It's a human trafficking corporation and company through those individuals that came here acting as if they're government, acting as if they're white persons, acting if they're Americans, none of which they are. They're illegal immigrants, and they're getting people who are national and connected to this landmass, northwest of Mexico, to include Canada, corporation company that's not even territorial jurisdiction, as well as Mexico, which is also a corporation that doesn't denote territorial jurisdiction. And you got to know the difference between territorial, in personam, and subject matter. Subject matter, right? I was like, so the first thing is what? In personam jurisdiction. This is why we tell you to speak the mantra. You have to speak the mantra because you're letting them know you have no jurisdiction over this body, this vessel. And you're establishing that from the door. The first thing that you have to establish when you're interacting with anybody, I don't care who they are, is who you are. And based on how you identify is how people are going to treat you, right? If you're identifying over here, you're going to be victimized, brutalized, and violated. If you identify over here in your national bloodline, heritage, and hereditaments, then you are going to be respected because they know they cannot violate you because you're not over here. And you're not outside of law where law doesn't apply to you and people can treat you and take whatever they want from you. And ignorance of the law does not give you an excuse to be violated or to be the violator. It doesn't give you an excuse to violate or be the violator. So it's a double-edged sword. You're going to get hit on one side as well as on the other side. So the purpose that I'm saying in terms of the straw man lien. Now the straw man, I'm sorry, not the straw man lien, the straw man. So it's the birth certificate. So without your mother signing, because she is the authorized representative of you until you are of competent, sound mind. And that comes after a certain age of awareness. And it ain't even age specific, like, okay, at this particular age. No, it's your competency. Your abilities to articulate yourself in a lawful and national capacity. Age of majority. So the point I'm trying to make is this. Your mother signed the birth certificate and the social security card when she had you. That gave the Albion authority and discovery of the child. So the so-called corporate state established that nom de guerre. So now we have the nom de guerre, which is the straw man. Let's just call it a straw man because that's what the heck it is. It's something that doesn't exist but on paper and can't be injured, can't have a debt, can't be a creditor, can't be any of these things. So when it was established, it was on a clean slate. Think about it. When that so-called corporation was established, didn't have any credit, didn't have any debt. That's one, y'all. Didn't have any credit, didn't have any debt. It was just straight a new birthed corporation. What establishes, what occurs, what happens once it's established? Now, the so-called corporation, which is either the state of this or a state of that, is now going to start charging stuff and creating and establishing stuff under that nom de guerre, right? But this is their corporate way of human trafficking you without you knowing that is what was done. So instead of you coming to, let's say Center City, Philadelphus, they have a stage in the back, right? They have a stage in the back, and they would parade the product, the cattle, right? And they show many pictorials, but these are all, what can I say? cartoons, like anime. They're all cartoons and anime because the reality is, did this really happen? Did this really occur? Nope. They covering in your mental through their unum sanctum, through their United States Service Corporation, unum sanctum corporation, to keep you thinking that you were enslaved at a particular time when it really didn't happen and it really didn't occur. So what I'm saying is that instead of you being on an auction block being sold, your nom de guerre is that ticker, let's say, or that account number or identifier, or they say accused number that they use that's attached specifically to you or to the nom de guerre that was established, so they can hide the fact that they are human trafficking. That sun just came in the right and I can't even see my face. Whatever. Huh? I can't see. Alright, so maybe I go this way? Okay. I don't want to. Maybe I go this way? So I can see?
Yeah.
Alright. So.
Slide over. Should be better?
It's a little better. So you got your straw man lean. I mean, you got. Why I keep saying that? Because apparently I'm trying to tell you lean your damn straw man. Apparently, subconsciously I'm saying that, but you should have already done that. That's part of tier 1. And also realize we're gonna come up with, to sidetrack real quick, we're gonna come up with a directory. I'm gonna come up with. I ain't gonna say we. Sharon's gonna come up with a directory of all the affidavits and documents. It's going to be of all the affidavits and documents with their corresponding record numbers. With their corresponding record numbers. So it's going to be a corresponding record number. So if you want to, if I reference, okay, go look up this record number. So if you look up this record number, you'll see and you'll be able to go find that document in the file section, because they're listed and we did a lot of movement. So you need to join the group. More Sharon Consulate Public Records. More Sharon Consulate Public Records. You need to go join that. Really? You need to go join that group, because that's where public records are going to be filed.